Hey everybody, it's Nick. I got a quick update for you today. That's to the Lab 12 materials. That's when we're doing the DIVA simulations and the VRay light studies. A couple quick things. We had some problems with our licensing. It seems like for DIVA, if you just downloaded the trial, it'll say that you don't have a license and that your license has expired. If you notice in the notes here, when you download DIVA for the first time, you can get this license file here, and it wants you to save it to the C:/DIVA folder. This is if you haven't already gotten your license from DIVA, your student license. This will allow you to use the 30-day trial. So what you do is right-click it, and you can say Save As, and we're going to go to C: and DIVA, and then all you do is just save it to that directory, and then that will allow you to open up your 30-day trial without any problems. Later on, when you get your file from DIVA, you're going to want to go back to that directory, your C:/DIVA, and you're going to rename the file that they gave you or save over this diva.lic file. If you don't do that, your new license won't work. Okay, so this is where that lives. Again, take the file that they give you. It'll be your last name and a bunch of letters and numbers. Save it as diva.lic, or just like overwrite this file, and then all that should work for you. All right, so that should get things working with the latest version of DIVA that works with Rhino 6. All right, and then I got another tip for you. Something that I found browsing the forums for DIVA is that if you have VRay installed, at least the latest version of it, it doesn't work with the shadow renderer. So a fix that you can try, I don't really like, is to go into your installer. If you go into, you can say like install. Actually, hang on one second. Press the Windows button or like the Command key, and I say install or uninstall. Sorry, uninstall. Go to Add or Remove Programs, and then uninstall VRay. And then if you go into Rhino and you go into Grasshopper, you go into the sun path, it'll actually work. And I do not like this. I don't like the fact that VRay, I don't know, makes some changes that are not compatible. But for now, this seems to be the only thing that'll work. So I guess temporarily uninstall VRay. Go ahead and run your light analysis and maybe your other DIVA analysis. I don't know what it's actually doing that's affecting it. It seems really odd, but it works. Hopefully there'll be a better fix later. But go ahead and do this, and then you can go back and just go back and reinstall VRay. You should have all the licenses and stuff. Just go ahead and download it again and install it. This is just really bizarre, but I found something that works. So if you have the problem where you're putting in the sun path component and everything is dark and there's no shadows, that seems to be the problem. Okay, so give that a try. That's actually kind of a pretty silly fix. Alright, so I actually just installed VRay again. It wasn't that big of a deal, actually. I just went to the Chaos Group webpage, logged in, and downloaded it just like last time. All the things installed properly. I didn't need to put my license in again. So installing VRay again seems to be pretty painless. I would still maybe get your VRay work done first, and then do your DIVA, and then go ahead and put VRay back on just to keep things as efficient as possible. But it doesn't seem to be that bad. Hopefully everybody will get things figured out. I don't know if it's a VRay problem or a DIVA problem. But it does work, and it's not the end of the world. So last thing I want to talk about, though, is a little VRay note that I made. I wrote this in the comments and in the email that I sent out, but I wanted to demonstrate for you just what I'm talking about. So I got the model here that I gave you as just a demo of the way that we can use like the clipping plane to simulate a section cut and to show how light gets into a space without actually cutting it. So this is what I meant. If you go into the asset editor for VRay, you go into the clipping plane under the geometry tab. You open this side tab up. So a box that says affect light has a little checkbox. This is what it looks like when you have that box checked, and you can actually see how like bright it is. The exposure value is 15. That's pretty high, right? You can see how well like illuminated the space is, even though the rays of sunlight are going, in here. I'm going to go ahead and go back. I'm going to turn off effect light, and then I'm going to re-render. And this is important too. You can't just check it. You've got to redo the scene. You can see how that looks. You see how actually darker that is. That's what should happen, because the other method, when this effect light is checked, is as if you removed the walls. And we don't want that. We want to actually just keeping it and allowing the light to come in without actually removing the side of the model. So again, I'll just show you what that looks like. Big difference though, right? In terms of the exposure. This space would not be that well lit. That's the point. Okay, you're seeing the contribution of the direct sunlight and the way that it bounces around. You really got to give this time to render to really see the effects of the light bounces, but that's more accurate. That's really what you'd be getting in this space, in an infill space. Okay? If you don't have this correct, you're gonna fool yourself, okay? And that's not what we're here for. So that's the setting that I'm talking about when you're doing these things. You should still go ahead and look at the video though for when you split the model, because that will give you the make 2D lines for your images, and that'll give you the poche lines, which are really important. But you don't have to actually split the model in order for this technique to work. That's what's cool about the clipping plane. The other thing I want to talk about that's different from the video is that if you go into my VRay settings, go to Objects, it says Convert to Clipper instead of Make Clipping Plane. This means that you can like make a plane and then you can turn that into clipping geometry. The other way to do it though is to simply open up your VRay toolbar. If you don't have it, just go to Control Toolbar. You go down to VRay, VRay All, and then you've got a clipping plane component here, and then that's how you can actually draw your clipping plane and rotate it like I do in the video. So that's how to make it look like I did in the video. Last year it worked a little bit differently, but that's it. Those are the little things that are different from the way that we ran Lab 12 last year. As I mentioned in class, this stuff always happens. It's important to read forums and read the change notes for each version just to make sure that you're up on this stuff. But it doesn't take too long to fix, and you can get back to work without too much of a problem. Actually, since I've been talking, look at how that space fills out though. I mean, it's not completely dark, but there's a real subtle kind of light level change. Like you really see like that kind of gradient. It's real nice, okay? But different certainly from what we first started with. All right, that's all the fixes that I've got. Good luck with your lab. I'll see you later.